The biggest thing the USAID scandal revealed is government workers thought they would have a job for life. Many of them who've worked there now 20 years are traumatized, and we're going to read this article that semi laughs at them. I would kind of feel bad, but they're like involved with a corrupt organization doing nothing. And I wish, hey, I'd love that kind of job security. Okay, so keep crying. But it shows that they thought they would have their jobs for life. That's what a government job means. Welcome to the Doug TenNapel channel as we read an article. Now, guys, this is at the Daily Mail. And so I don't know if you know about the Daily Mail, but we're going to criticize this website together, because the first thing that's going to happen is see all these, you're going to get banner ads. This is Xfinity. You're going to get banner ads through this whole show. And this is the scariest part, is it supposedly is some kind of a window into my psyche, because all of the Google data that's being collected on me, they feed it out to ads, and they always personally give you your ads. So it's always funny when it's like for retirement homes, because I'm 58 years old, and, catheters and old people stuff. And every once in a while, a real embarrassing one could pop up, like interested in singles over 50. And they always have some photoshopped buxom model on there. So I'm just saying, this is this is what Google thinks I'm interested in. But we're not going to deal. I'm just giving you a warning. And then on this site at the Daily Mail, it's so trashy. Look how the text is right up against that left wall. They didn't put any margins in the programming of this page, so it doesn't work zoomed in. It's probably more made for mobile. But just so you know how this stuff works. Traumatized USAID worker who survived DOGE bloodbath describes the horror of watching everyone get fired. This is already putting a big smile on my face. I mean, she got to keep her job. A USAID worker who managed to survive, I like how they act like they survived like the California fires or something, managed to survive widespread cuts by DOGE, has described the horror watching their coworkers being fired. Now, at many of the jobs that I've worked at, I've worked with some pretty bad people that I would not feel super horrified by some people being fired. Also, whoever this worker is, they can be pretty happy to know that of all the worthless jobs that got cut, this one stayed behind. So, hey, be proud that you're needed. You probably do a good job. President Trump has gone scorched earth against the United States Agency for International Development, USAID, this week, claiming it is, quote, corrupt amidst huge layoffs. The agency, one staff member described to NPR, National Public Radio, who also needs to be cut from our funding, how during a virtual staff meeting, because they're not even in the office, they're getting paid millions of dollars and they don't have to go to the office. At a virtual staff meeting on Monday, people started leaving one by one as their access was cut off. This sounds like just a parade of, I wish they released the video footage, please. The staffer said it was like from a horror film. I would think working for some of these government organizations in your little cubicle would be like a horror film, like Walking Dead. After the administration ordered at least 8,000 staffers and contractors onto permanent leave or furlough, quote, there is no bottom to this stupidity, unquote. A separate USAID staffer told the public broadcaster. Another added that the government, quote, might as well shut it all down. 290 people won't be able to do anything, unquote. So the USAID went from 8 to 10,000 staffers to 290 employees, and now they won't be able to do anything. Elon Musk, by the way, is famous for cutting 40,000 employees, and he made Twitter actually work better. The Trump administration had originally planned to keep 297 staffers, but that number is now has risen to 611, according to a notice issued late on Thursday night. Now, the reason why they did that is they realized people were going to starve, people were going to get in trouble, people were going to be in pain. So they went from 297 to 611. On Friday, one worker could be seen crying. I'm trying. That's a terrible thing to do, to laugh. Actually, it's kind of funny. Seen crying as crews used duct tape to block out the agency name on a sign outside of its headquarters, as they also tore down large lettering over the entryway. Trump wrote earlier on his Truth Social, USAID is driving the radical left crazy, and there's nothing they can do about it because the way in which the money's been spent, so much of it fraudulently, is totally unacceptable. And he's the president, guys. That's not just any opinion on this. He's the only one with real authority on this. All these people work at his pleasure. The corruption's at levels rarely seen before. Close it down. The department was the first target of Elon Musk's Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE, which is gutting spending and federal government workforce. And there she is crying. And I'm right there with you. I'm crying and disappointed that it didn't happen earlier. I'm furious. Christina Dreyer left. A 2-year employee for USAID wipes away tears after a worker removed the U.S. Agency for International Development sign from their headquarters. See, they were all a little too proud, and there they are removing the letters. This is the best public branding move for DOGE ever. Worker removes U.S. Agency for International Development sign from the headquarters on February 7th. And there's the black tape. They just came out. They couldn't sandblast those letters off, so they just put black tape over those letters. Oh, that's so good. On Friday, workers could be seen crying as crews used duct tape to block out. And duct tape, that is a tool of my people, my blue-collar people. We rednecks know what duct tape is for. The department was the first target of Elon Musk's Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE, which is gutting spending on the federal government workforce, which we need. It's totally mandatory. It's about time. I'm furious this took so long. Now, here's the articles they think I'm interested in. Mass recall issued for supermarket donut and pastry items. Netflix fans go wild. An urgent warning over alarming sex act on the rise in Australia. Nice try. I'm not clicking on your pagan, anti-Christian. Nice try. Not even close. The DOGE social media account celebrated the event, sharing images of the building with the letters removed. And they wrote, after the letters were wiped, they wrote, "Unburdened by what has been." The message read, "Come on, when has America been this funny? Never." Musk has called the agency a criminal organization and criticized its spending on foreign aid. Your tax dollars should be spent on America, or the government should just tax you less, he wrote on X on Tuesday. Who's against that? Anyone in my audience who wants to defend USAID? Wouldn't you rather just lower my taxes and I will give more money to charity, just naturally? I don't want you to be charitable on my behalf. Don't do it. Don't take my money. It's not your place. Because then I'm not actually charitable, guys. The government is robbing us of good works, of having the feeling like you take your money, which is yours, and you freely give it to someone who needs it. The remaining USAID staff includes employees who specialize in health and humanitarian assistance, the New York Times reported, which is exactly what USAID is supposed to do. That's the charter, you dummies. Not putting on musicals, not doing trans comic books. Suddenly it became like National Endowment of the Woke Arts. When the original 300 number was floated, staff at the agency had pushed to keep more people on board, citing critical life-saving humanitarian, going, look, we need to be able to save lives. I agree. I'm happy that those 300 people in life-saving positions, you should definitely stay. Yes, save lives. Notice, senior staff submitted a list of around 600 people to State Department leadership, calling their work essential and saying it could not be disrupted. Sure. Secretary of State Marco Rubio also approved the list of employees who are staying. But about 800 awards and contracts administered through the agency are being canceled. Here's another angle. They took another picture of her. Hold on 1 second. Keep crying, lady. We got more film. Do they still use film? Okay. The DOGE social media account celebrated the event, sharing images of the building with the letters removed. President Trump has gone scorched earth. Here's the protesters. They certainly don't have full-time jobs. That's why they can always come out and protest. End U.S. imperialism. Wait, imperialism is when we go and launch our country into other countries. And that's exactly what USAID did, that is imperialism. Congress, please, PLS, please, step in. Our jobs are at risk. Stop the coup. And there's a fork off, DOGE. Congress, please step in. Federal workers and supporters hold signs as they demonstrate against Elon Musk and his Department of Government Efficiency. Yeah, keep protesting, guys. Earlier this week, the administrative staff gave staff overseas 30 days starting Friday to return to the U.S. So there's people in field, with government paying for their travel and moving costs. Workers who choose to stay longer, unless they received a specific hardship waiver, may have to cover their own expenses. Two unions, they're even unionized? How bad does this thing get? Representing USAID employees on Thursday filed a lawsuit over the cuts against Trump, Rubio, and Treasury of Secretary Scott Bessent. The agency, the State Department, and the Treasury Department, that's Scott Bessent is over the Treasury Department. Robin Thurston Howell III, Robin Thurston, the legal director for Democracy Forward. Anytime it's called Democracy Forward, you already know this is a fraudulent everything. This is deep Soros, deep satanic cult, deep Democracy Forward. This is criminal. One of the two advocacy organizations that filed the lawsuit said, what we're seeing is an unlawful seizure of this agency by the Trump administration in a plain violation of basic constitutional principles. Where is USAID in the Constitution? It is not there. The lawsuit argues only Congress can dissolve the agency and calls the Trump administration's actions unconstitutional and illegal. Rubio has defended the government's actions. Yeah, that depends on which department, which authority it falls under. This one clearly falls under the executive branch, the president. So this is not Congress may have said, budgeted things, but they did not say where it had to be spent. During a joint press conference with the president of the Dominican Republic on Thursday, he said it was the only option. I'd have preferred not to do it this way, he noted, when we tried to do it from the top down by getting cooperation from the central office in USAID. What we found instead are people trying to use the system to sneak through payments and push through payments despite the stop order. We found people that were uncooperative in terms of giving us information access. So basically the coup wasn't Trump, the coup was inside USAID. They were disobeying orders and trying to do workarounds. Rubio emphasized that the Trump administration will still be issuing foreign assistance, so people are getting their food. The United States will be providing foreign aid, he said, but it is going to be foreign aid that makes sense and is aligned with our national interests, not condoms to Gaza, guys. Meanwhile, Trump's decision to cut the agency's funding could have consequences at home. How? USAID oversees projects such as food aid, disaster relief, and health programs. See, they never march out the programs. How come they never say the trans musical in Venezuela? Guys, we're going to lose that, and we just can't lose the trans musical in Venezuela. They never go public and say that. They always go what is actually defendable. They go, guys, we're going to lose food aid, disaster relief, and health programs. But what about the expanding atheism in Nepal program? Where's that? How come you don't mention that? Guys, they're going to stop the expansion of atheism project, which is just so important. That's why we have to extract your taxes. They never come out and say that. So they're already admitting all that stuff is waste. Anything they will not publicly defend, has to get cut. And that's probably 75% of USAID. Just a bunch of stupid Democrat corrupt pork. USAID oversees projects such as food aid, disaster relief, and health programs over 100 countries with a budget of around $40 billion. Much of this is wasted, okay? It's about, I think 10 or 20% of it is spent on administration. That means government bureaucrats that have a big cush job. And they work from home. They don't go into the office. Confident that DOGE is right. I love this Daily Mail one they go to this woman crying that they're putting tape over the sign. That's the big lead over at mainstream Democrat media. I'm Doug in exile.